And oh boy, look at that poster. That poster is just
Fucking terrifying.
they really should have took this poster wouldn't be like I've been seeing mixed reviews. I've seen some people say they kind of like it, and I'm not saying it's bad, but could they have put the red down just a couple shades? Like why is it? Why? Because these two, if you look at the eyes, they look like demons. I mean, this is total
Yeah.
like Hellboy vibes on here.
Yes.
But but for me, when I first saw it, I said, "Wow, they look like they got bad sunburn." That's what I said. So, that's sorry guys. I'm so white. I just think of that kind of stuff all the time. Like, man, they really should have used their
SPF
sunblock.
50. Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyways, the bet slip. Yeah, look at that color code. So we're still using DraftKings and FanDuel, but FanDuel proving that they're real casuals because they didn't have most of their odds up when we were placing everything earlier. So, but we did get them for one. So DraftKings dominating most of the share, and Dominic, we'll just go down in order. I'll start here with a Rafael dos Anjos money line at plus 180. Got this on FanDuel. I'm going for it, guys. I truly think RDA is the more well-rounded fighter here. I think his skill set is a problem for Fiziev, who even though he's looked really good in the UFC, he's not undefeated. He lost his debut, and he has shown moments of weakness. The third round against Bobby Green being one of them. He looked like a guy, like at the end of that fight, he looked like he had lost, even though he ended up winning and he should have won. Like, that fight took a lot out of him. And again, he looked much improved against Brad Riddell. But this is a whole nother ballgame. You're going 5 rounds against a very durable opponent. RDA's only been finished via strikes twice, and I'm pretty sure neither one of them he actually got knocked down.
Yeah.
At least the Eddie Alvarez one was a standing TKO. So this guy, it's hard to put him on his back. It's hard to put him on the ground. I do think he'll have success. If this fight stays standing for extended periods, he has the advantage. Like, RDA is a talented striker, but Fiziev will light his ass up.
Yeah.
To me, where RDA wins this fight is in those later rounds. He's gone 5 minutes, or 25 minutes, 5 rounds, multiple times. He never looks to be gassing, getting tired. Even against Moicano, where that was probably the closest I've seen him to kind of gassing out. And that's because he had just punished that dude so much and he wouldn't go away. Fiziev, I don't see it becoming that kind of battle. I think it's going to become a war of nutrition. And I go RDA 10 times out of 10 in a cardio battle. And skill sets, I think Fiziev's going to have to fight off a lot of takedown attempts, a lot of clinch heavy attack. And that's just going to gas him out even more. So RDA money line. I didn't really think about this fight that closely until like this week, and once I did, I was kind of surprised at how heavy I was on RDA. But I'm putting my money where my mouth is. The dogs are barking this week, Dom, and that's a good transition for you to talk about this next one for us.
Yeah, so we both put a unit down on Courtney Casey money line at plus 155. Obviously, the green DraftKings color coded, blue was FanDuel for RDA. But there's 2 underdog picks here for me that I felt were dog or pass situations. And this is the first one: Courtney Casey taking on the older sister of Valentina Shevchenko, Antonina Shevchenko. Both relatively lackluster in the UFC, back and forth records. I think like a 3-4 on the side of Antonina for Courtney Casey. Her overall record in general is just 10-9. So neither woman with pretty records. But dare I say, Noah, Courtney Casey's last performance, and I'm gonna forget how to say her name, but I think it was Jojua was the last name. She's no longer in the UFC, so it doesn't make Liana, yeah. Yeah, and that's who Courtney beat. And I know, again, she's not in the UFC anymore, but that was the best Courtney Casey has ever looked in the UFC, in my opinion. I thought she looked very well-rounded. She looked solid on the feet, crisp, powerful. Her pace was nonstop for 15 straight minutes. And I just think that right now in her career, she's a couple years younger than Antonina as well. I just feel like right now momentum is more on her side. I feel like she's more consistent in terms of what we see from her in the cage. You know, a couple of her losses are even via split. A couple of those go her way. That record looks a little bit more pretty than 10-9. For Antonina, she's not showed me anything that makes me think. And again, I'm not trying to compare to Valentina. I'm absolutely not doing that. But I think the odds are so heavily in her favor at a minus 180, I believe minus 190, because of that last name. Because this feels like a coin flip fight to me at both points in their careers. But if you're giving me plus 155 on Courtney Casey, who looked great in her last fight, but Antonina's coming off of 2 straight losses where she hasn't looked great in neither one of them, and really she hasn't looked great in her whole entire UFC career, I'm going to take the underdog, Courtney Casey, 10 times out of 10. So I have no shame in taking that, and I know that No is much of the same, and that's why he's riding that one with me. Mm-hmm. So next up, Ronnie Lawrence. We have a banger to kick off this UFC Vegas 58 card.
I have a bird. His name's Ronnie. You know what that's from?
Kind of startled me a little bit. I do not, actually.
It's from The Longest Yard when Brucey gets knocked out. He's like, I have a bird. His name's Ronnie. And he's like, Chris Rock's like, well, tell Ronnie you got knocked the fuck out.
Who put the football in butter? It's the popcorn. It's the popcorn. So the first fight of the night, Ronnie Lawrence, and I'm not going to fuck this name up, Sedyokub Kakramanov. Yes, I hit that nail on the head in the first attempt.
Did you just have a stroke?
No. Ronnie Lawrence may have the best gas tank in UFC history. This dude does not stop churning the wheels for 15 straight minutes. A grinder, if I've ever seen one. Both these guys, great records. 8-1 for Ronnie, 9-2 for Sedyokub. I'm just going to say Sedyokub because that's how it's spelled. He did debut. He's 1-0 in the UFC. He did defeat Trevin Jones, submitted him in the 3rd round. But Ronnie overall, in terms of a full skill set, and again, match with that gas tank that he has, match with, I think he's just better on the feet, a better striker. Minus 140, pretty solid odds for a fight that I think Ronnie's capable of winning 9 times out of 10. I'm going to take that chance. But you have to tune in for the first fight of the night because I think it's going to be a banger.
Yeah,
Ronnie Lawrence money line. Next, it's so fitting that Kennedy Nzechukwu is making his appearance 2 weeks after the infamous mixing his name with Tafana and Chukwi and like 3 other guys with Chidi and Jokawani. Yeah, I mixed like 4 different names together. Kennedy Nzechukwu is back in action. I took him money line at minus 130, and not just because I felt bad about butchering his last name, but because he's taking on Carl Roberson, who is 9-5. He has lost 3 straight fights, all via finish. He's moving up 2 light heavyweight from middleweight. And boy, what a debut to have, because Kennedy is 4 inches taller and has a 9-inch reach advantage. No, I just simply think Kennedy's the bigger man. He's so much longer. I don't know if Carl is going to be able to close the distance enough to even find success. I even think Kennedy by finish, or even more specifically by knockout, is highly in play here. But I didn't want to get too crazy. We've seen Kennedy go the distance a couple times. So I just took him straight up at minus 130. I felt that was a great value, so I'm going there. And then the last money line play of the weekend for the bet slip, Nina Nunes, much similar to Courtney Casey, dog or pass situation. We just talked about this fight between her and Cynthia Calvillo. Calvillo has continuously underperformed and looked, honestly, like continuously worse fight by fight. Again, good competition. I get it. But when you're not showing me anything, it doesn't really matter what your competition is. And for Nina, I do kind of like that. I know I'm a little bit pessimistic of the weight move, but she's going up. She's not going down. I think it fits her better. She actually is an inch taller than Cynthia in this one, so the size difference not going to come into factor. I think Nina is a much better boxer if she keeps this on the feet, and I think she does keep it on the feet because as good of a grappler as Calvillo is, she never utilizes it. I don't know why she doesn't look to wrestle or grapple more, but she doesn't. And if she does, Nina has a 76% takedown defense. I think this stays on the feet. I think Nina pieces her up for 3 rounds and wins the decision. Plus 130. That's 3 dog plays out of 5 on the money lines. As Noah said, the dogs are barking.
The dogs are barking. And Dominic really just this week more than any other, I didn't realize he put all his plays in order and then my plays basically. So we're all just going to get to talk for long periods of time, so which is fine. So now for me, 1.35 units. This is a minus 135 play. Your heavyweight showcase of the week sees two guys coming in with a combined 7 straight losses inside the UFC. Jared Vandura taking on Chase Sherman. I have this fight to not start round 3, and I'm calling this play the "oh please God, don't let this go to distance" play.
Okay, I love it.
So, if this fight goes to distance, we're in for a tough road here. So, Jared Vandura, Chase Sherman. No disrespect to either guy. Don't know why they're on the main card because they're struggling. I mean, that's the reality here. I think Vandura is 1-4 in the UFC, and Chase Sherman combined 3-9 across 2 different
stints.
terms. Yeah, so, but both guys capable of a finish for sure. I mean, Chase Sherman, I'm pretty sure every win he has outside of maybe one is via knockout. And then Jared Vandura is actually he's actually a BJJ black belt, I think. So and he even showed against Alexei Oleinik before he got submitted that he was capable of getting the back and kind of putting some submissions on, So I'm just going to believe that one of these two guys is going to get a finish here, or else, my God, will I be crying. Next up, 1.3 units. Kennedy Chukwu, as Dominic politely and accurately said this time, and Carl Roberson. I have their fight to go under 2.5 rounds. Pretty simply, if you look at these two over their last 5 fights, as I pull up the tape, as I pull up my little cheat sheet here, both guys coming off of combined 5 straight losses between these two. But I do like this fight a little bit more for in terms of on paper. Like, I think these guys do have more to offer than what I was talking about with the heavyweight fight. And for Roberson, you're right. 3 straight losses, all via finish, like you said. Also, before that, had a submission win over Roman Kopylov. So 4 straight finishes and 4 straight fights, even if 3 of them were losses. And then for Nze Chukwu, he is coming off a decision loss to Nikolai Negumarunu. That was that one.
We had a bet on that one, I think.
Yeah, we both doubled down, and that was a super close fight. But outside of that, Dom, he lost by knockout to Da Un Jung. He knocked out Danilo Marquez, and he knocked out Carlos Alberg. So this guy, mostly a finisher. Both these guys are lean very heavy on their finishes. Nze Chukwu, 4 decisions in 12 fights. Roberson, 3 decisions in 14 fights. Both guys explosive. Both guys have advantages over the other. I think Roberson going to look to grapple here. Nze Chukwu having that distance advantage, a 9-inch reach advantage. Going to be looking to keep him at range, and someone's going to go down here. I just don't see that. But it could be one that comes a little later, so that's why I'm doing under 2.5. I don't feel confident enough in like a first-round stoppage or something. It's just, I think that's a little too much. Even though the juice is on that, I don't think it's worth the squeeze. And now, after that, 1.6 units, minus 160. Co-main event, Bohio Petrosian over 1.5 rounds. This is a little risky in my opinion. I know it's minus 160, but I do feel pretty confident though in both guys' durability. But in terms of on a UFC scale, we must admit that we're in uncharted territory with these two. Petrosian proved against Rodriguez he can fucking take it, man. I mean, he took an unbelievable amount of punishment and stayed alive and even won the fight. Even though I didn't think he won the fight, it was close enough to where, you couldn't really call it a robbery. While Caio Borralho didn't have much adversity in his first UFC fight, but boy, is he a hammer. And I mean, almost too much, to the point where he was doing some illegal shots that ended the fight early. But both these guys, their power doesn't seem to go away over the course of 3 rounds. So I think they're going to be locked and loaded, heavy-fisted for the entirety of the fight. But I also just trust their durability. So even if there's a late finish, which I could firmly see, I think it happens after the midway point of round 2, or sure, I hope so.
I like it.
Last one. 1.5 units on Zahabi, Tercios, to go the distance. I nearly played Ricky by decision. That was the original, which was like a plus 120.
Yeah.
So if you feel very confident in Ricky, I think that's the play.
Yes, for sure.
But I think that this is a very even matchup between him and Zahabi. And even though, like you mentioned, Zahabi only 2 decisions in 10 fights, if you look a little closer, yes, he does have quite a bit of finishes, but he doesn't necessarily have like a ton of power or anything like that. He kind of does it with it's punches and bunches. It's the pace he puts on people. I don't think that skill set is what's going to put Ricky out. I think if you're someone who's going to put Ricky out, I think it's going to be by overwhelming him with power. I don't think punches and bunches, because he's such a high-paced, high-volume guy himself. Yeah. I don't think replicating that in the other corner is going to be what puts him away. So for both these guys, I think they're well-matched in terms of they have similar skill sets. It's just one's used to going the distance and one's not. But I do think in this case it does. I'm leaning Ricky, but I also think this fight could be really close, Dom. We've been seeing a lot of decisions where it's kind of up in the air. I was willing to take the pay cut in terms of the payout and go add a little more to my upfront. But that way, if Zahabi gets a decision that's razor thin, I still get the winning there. So I'm trying to be smart. This is my I can't trust the judges play. So you all, that's what it is. So
I like it.
That's all for the singles. We'll move on to the parlays. And I guess I'll start with mine first here. My moneyline parlay, 2 legs. All these are 2 legs, actually. Plus 111, Caio Bahayo and Jamie Malarkey. So I've already kind of said my piece about Bahayo. I'm going a little bit off of what I've seen from both guys up to this point, even though Petrosian had a much tougher first fight in terms of the opponent, and I just thought he didn't win the fight. But I like Bahayo being a more well-rounded fighter. I also think he's very explosive. I think he's going to have a speed advantage. But Petrosian does hit like a truck. I just think Bahayo has more weapons, more skills, more ways to win. Jamie Malarkey, man, I wanted to ride with my dude Michael Johnson. He won me some money last time out against Alan Patrick, but I think Jamie Malarkey is really good. I do. I think it's a tough matchup for Michael Johnson. They're really throwing him right back into the fire. 2 and 3 in the UFC, but I mean, the Jalen Turner loss, are we really going to hold that against him? And at 155, Jamie Malarkey seems like a real problem for a lot of guys, especially someone who you can't ever really trust if he's going to be at his full, confident, skilled self, or if he's going to be lacking a little something coming in.
Yeah, I like that, Noah. For my money line parlay, it came in at plus 100. Copy and paste what Noah said about Caio. I just think more routes to victory, especially if he gets the fight on the ground. Then I really see problems for him against Armen Petrosian. Second leg, Saeed Nurmagomedov. Oh, well, I bet it because of his last name. I'm just kidding. I think he is just the more well-rounded fighter. He is 7 years younger than Douglas Silva de Andrade. I think he's just a little bit better everywhere. If he can just avoid the big shots of Andrade, I think he bests him on the feet. I think he can out-grapple him. I think he can just work at a great pace for 15 minutes if that's what the fight calls for. And again, kind of just more past victory. If you're Silva de Andrade and you don't land that power shot to really rattle Saeed for the remainder of the fight or put him away, I think you're going to have a hard time getting to the younger, more athletic, just better fighter, in my opinion, right now at that point in their careers. So that was plus 100. And then I'm back. It's been a long time since I've had a variety parlay, and this is a violence variety parlay. It's plus 103, Vandura Sherman inside the distance, Johnson Malarkey inside the distance. copy and paste again what Noah said about Vandura and Sherman to not start round 3, because I think it's two guys that are due for a win. Dare I say, both guys are fighting for their damn careers in this fight. I think they will go out reckless abandon. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to put it out there that I think Jared Vandura by submission may just be worth a little bit of a sprinkle this weekend.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Completely agree.
But yeah, I mean, these guys 75% knocking on the distance, 80% knocking on the distance. These guys go out on their shield, win or lose by the finish, and I think it's going to be much of the same there. So I like that. And then Johnson, Malarkey. I worry a little bit on this one simply because Michael Johnson is pretty damn durable, but he has been finished 11 out of his 17 losses, and maybe that's just me leaning more toward, well, I just think Jamie Malarkey's going to win because he's finished 16 of his 19 have not gone the distance. He's finished 13 out of 14. So I just think whichever the case, Malarkey is prone to being finished as well, and I think Michael Johnson obviously carries the power to do so. You saw what he did to cash that ticket for Noah the last time that he was out. So I think that fight, again, probably my early pick for fight of the night, if I'm being honest, but that doesn't mean it's got to go all 3 rounds, baby. I think that gets finished inside of the distance, plus 103. And lastly, I want to be honest with everybody and let you know that even though it's not on here right now, there will be a play added to this when we tweet out on Friday when our video goes live for this segment to be on YouTube separately, because I will be placing something on my boy David Odama. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know how much it's going to be, but there will be a play for my boy. They just don't have the odds out yet, so I got to see what's going on with the bookies, but just so you guys know.